He used the map included in the project proposal to guide him. It was hard to read the words and make out the details, but it looked like the Nokane building, where the Burning Hammer demo was being held, was just down Center Guy. There was no indication of which floor the event would be held on, however. That made him a little anxious, but he'd probably be able to find someone to point him in the right direction once he got to the building. He spotted a cafe up ahead. "Coffee, please," he shouted as he strode inside. He slumped down in an open chair. Hopefully he'd be able to hole up in here until 1 o'clock working on his article. If he couldn't have it done by then, finishing the whole issue by the end of the day would be a tall order. He pulled a cigarette from his overcoat as he waited for his computer to boot up. Having a smoke was Minorikawa's little trigger for going into writing mode. This is the state of being in a mood to write some text. As Minorikawa goes about his job, he switches between writing mode, interview mode, food mode, and sleep mode. When busy, he'll sometimes go into writing mode and food mode at the same time, sometimes even straying into sleep mode in the midst of food mode. When he's even busier, he'll eat and write mid-interview while nodding off. This is known as ultimate mode. He stuck the cigarette in his mouth and lit it up. With the first heavy draw of smoke, he felt his mind focus. The rough idea for his article came to his head, nearly fully formed. All he needed to do now was get it all written down. Finally, his laptop finished booting up. "Took you long enough, pal," he muttered to the computer. His hands leapt to the keyboard like a predator pouncing on its prey. In a matter of moments, he had hit his stride. His fingers clicked away. One by one, lines of text filled up his screen. A waitress stepped up beside him. "Excuse me, sir?" But Minorikawa was in writing mode. He didn't even hear her. Sir, I beg your pardon." Again, Minorikawa was deaf to the waitress's attempts to get his attention. "Sir, excuse me." The waitress smacked the table. "Quiet, Minorikawa snapped. He slammed the table right back. Oh my god. "Don't interrupt me when I'm working. Not if you know what's good for you." The waitress didn't so much as flinch. She leaned in aggressively, getting right in Minorikawa's face. "This is Ikumi Omiya, employee at Kolabo Cafe. While appearing cute and demure at first glance, she's quite strong-willed and frightening when angry. She works nights at a place called the Scolding Pub, where customers rent private rooms in which they are scolded at length by attractive girls. One middle-aged businessman once told her, 'Your face looks simply marvelous when you're angry.'" "Sir, I hate to bother you, but I have to ask you to please refrain from smoking." Minorikawa blinked. "Huh? This is a non-smoking establishment, sir." "No smoking?" Minorikawa asked. The cigarette bobbed in his mouth as he spoke. The waitress pointed sharply to the sign on the wall. The words "no smoking" were spelled out clear as day. "We ask that patrons please not smoke so that other customers can fully enjoy the aroma of their coffee." The waitress drew herself up in arrogant triumph. A woman sitting at the table next, made a face as she tried to fan the smoke away with her hands. Customers all around the shop were glaring at him. "You guys don't know the first thing about the aroma of coffee," Minorikawa scoffed. Oh my god. This is not going to turn out well. The scent of coffee only truly comes to life amidst the choking stench of tobacco smoke. The waitress's only response was to jab her finger again. But this time she didn't point at the sign. She pointed to the door. "Sir, if you're going to smoke, please take it outside." Sometime later, sitting inside the Café Lautrec, Minorikawa lit up his third cigarette. At last, a safe refuge. It had taken him quite some time to find a place that allowed smoking after he got kicked out of the first cafe. So, in recent years, many cafes and restaurants have phased out the concept of the smoking section in favor of prohibiting smoking across the board. This makes a place like Lautrec especially important to smokers. There are large air vents in the ceiling to help keep the interior more agreeable for those who do not smoke. Now he was in a rush to make up for lost time. His fingers flew over the keyboard at lightning speed. The more he wrote, the harder he focused. At this rate, he'd have the story wrapped up in no time. "Today, you hear me?" A voice intruded suddenly on his awareness. One of the other customers was shouting. "You're breaking up with that fellow today." Oh right, that's what these two were saying. Minorikawa's fingers drifted to a halt. He looked around to see where the voice had come from. An older man, red in the face, was shouting at the young woman who sat across from him. "Please, Dad," the woman pleaded. "Stop. You're making a scene." "Ah, a father and daughter, then." It was rare nowadays to see a father behave so imperiously toward his own daughter. Just how sheltered had he been trying to keep her? Minorikawa couldn't see her face from where he was sitting. But his interest was piqued. I think you should just finish your article, but I wonder what would happen if we did this. I think this is going to be the one that we want to do eventually, but I think I'm curious what happens if there's anything here that we actually do want to hear about. Should he move to another seat where he could take a look? Gathering up his laptop, Minorikawa switched to a different table. "I don't care if I'm making a scene," the older man was saying. "I'm not leaving until I see you cut ties with that boy, do you understand?" "I understand that you're never happy unless you get your way. You're acting like a spoiled child." "Don't you talk back to me. You don't understand your own situation. You're letting your emotions cloud your judgment without putting any thought into your future." "No, Dad, you're the one who doesn't understand." The father-daughter argument was getting more and more heated. Dad was clearly furious. Minorikawa shifted closer, curious to see what might happen next. Then he saw the daughter's face and gasped out loud. "Oh, hey, I know you. Wait, you're on TV, right?" The father scowled up at him. "You must be mistaken," he said gruffly. "No, I'm sure of it," Minorikawa said. "Yeah, what show am I thinking of?" The young woman seemed disconcerted by his enthusiasm. Who was she? He called out to a waitress who was passing by. "Hey miss, do you know this gal? She's an actress, right? It's right on the tip of my tongue." The waitress ignored him, but Minorikawa was undeterred. I know this. I mean, he's not the only person to think that. Sasayama thought it as well, so... Weren't you in one of those TV dramas or something? Minorikawa is probably thinking of a series starring Masami Nagahama, possibly Operation Kolkhoz, The Last Frenchman, Touched by a Tuna, or Sailor Moon Pies, all of which received high viewer ratings and are fondly remembered in the public consciousness. "Right, we're leaving," the father grumbled. He rose from his seat, radiating aggravation. "Huh," the young woman said, but not waiting to hear her objection, he grabbed her by the hand and stormed out of the cafe. "Hey, hold on," Minorikawa squawked. His plea fell on deaf ears. All he could do was watch them go, then shuffle back to his seat in disappointment. Damn it, what was her name? I should have asked for her autograph. Mumbling under his breath, Minonikawa went back to typing. What's that? His hands went still as a strange noise intruded on his reverie. Whatever it was close by. What in the world is that sound? Well, if we're not going to finish the article anyway, then let's get to the bottom of this. I need to get to the bottom of this or I'll never be able to concentrate. Just where the heck is that sound coming from? He searched his surroundings for a moment and quickly discovered that the noise was coming from his own bag. He pulled out one of the most important tools of his trade, a bug detector. An instrument for finding listening devices. Since wireless listening devices emit radio signals, bug detectors are designed to use wide-area receivers to reveal their presence. Using a detector to find something in this fashion is known as fox hunting. It was on, and it had picked up a signal. To a reporter, information was life. That made owning a bug detector a sensible precaution in his line of work. With the device in hand, Minonikawa casually scanned the area. Eventually, he zeroed in on the signal. He stood up. "Everyone, your attention, please," he announced. "Someone set up a listening device in here." Several cafe patrons turned their heads in disbelief. A woman wreathed in pungent perfume flashed him a disagreeable look. Oh, it's her. "Oh, come on, that's ridiculous," she huffed. "Something fishy going on. The only thing fishy right now is you," the woman declared disdainfully. "Why don't you get out of here and let everyone enjoy their meals?" "No, I smell a scoop." "What?" "You, what's your name?" "None of your business, that's what." "Now hurry up and stop that awful noise." The other customers were starting to murmur loudly. "There's a listening device here, folks," Minonikawa said. "How can that not bother you? Do you know where it could be?" "Excuse me," the woman called out. "Could someone please do something about this man?" A waitress hurried over. "Sir, please, you're bothering our other customers. There's a listening device in here. That's what people should be bothered by right now." The waitress took a reflexive step backward at the words listening device. "You're the one who's intruding on everyone," the woman shouted. "Honestly, could you please stop that racket?" "It's not me making the racket. It's the bug tracker." "Just who the hell do you think you are?" "Police? Somebody call the police." "Ma'am, please calm down," the waitress said. "There are other customers here, and I'll calm down once you get this disrespectful boor out of here. All I'm doing is sharing the truth. You can't kick me out for that." "Oh, they absolutely can." The waitress wavered, clearly intimidated by both of them. "You've sure got a lot of nerve," the woman snapped at Minonikawa. "Go play detective someplace else." "I'm not a detective. I'm a reporter." "Really now? By far my least favorite profession." "Oh, and why is that? Someone write a story about you, lady. Got skeletons in your closet." "You shut your mouth. How dare you?" "Yeah, I smell a scoop here all right, and the smell is coming from you." "Oh, stop it with your scoop nonsense already. It's no use trying to hide things from me. You have no idea what you're talking about." "Oh, yes I do, lady. Go to hell. After you." Blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. As they shouted over each other, their words blurred together until they were barely words anymore. The onlookers could hear only indistinct, meaningless raving. And still the yelling went on and on and on. Eventually there came the sound of approaching sirens. Of course there did. But even when a police cruiser pulled up outside the cafe, the two didn't slow their bickering. Okay, well I think that's valuable information for us. We now know that there is a bug on her, I think, on her person. So we should be careful what we say around her as other characters. But obviously we don't want to keep this bad end. So we're gonna undo that. And I think while we're at it, we can also undo the first thing we did there. So we can prevent Kana's girlfriend from leaving. So let's just focus on what was going on here. Our own article. Oh wait, no, that's the wrong. Okay. Minorikawa couldn't see her face from where he was sitting, but his interest was piqued. Should he move to another seat where he could take a look? No. He reminded himself that he needed to finish his article. Besides, if this young lady looked anything like her father, he'd just as soon pass. Minorikawa went back to his typing. It took a few minutes to re-establish his writing groove, with the two still bickering across the room, but thankfully he soon regained his focus. What's that? His hands went still as a strange noise intruded on his reverie. Let's just... Never mind. We need to focus on finishing the article. Minorikawa tried to immerse himself in his writing again. Before long, he stopped worrying about the curious sound. Time passed. Eventually, the pace of his writing slowed down a bit, and Minorikawa glanced at his watch. It was later than he'd thought. Pretty soon, he was going to have to head over to get an interview from the diet drink people. He reached into his bag for the project proposal to double-check the demo location. Huh? The proposal, it's gone. Oh. Crap, where the heck did it go? He checked all around the table, but he didn't see it anywhere. Maybe he'd left it at the other cafe, the non-smoking place. Well, he didn't have time to go back for it now. His phone rang. What now? Minorikawa snapped as he answered it. A tiny squeak came through the receiver. Oh god, it's her again. It was followed by the sound of sniffling sobs. I'm sorry. Chiaki. Was she done with her interviews, maybe? No, she probably hasn't even gotten a single one. It's no use. People won't stop to talk no matter how hard I try. Her voice broke up into further sobs. Oh, come on. This again? Really? I can't do it. Don't worry about paying me. Just please let me go home. Minorikawa was already operating on a too tight schedule. He didn't have time to worry about Chiaki on top of it all. Look, just slow down and take a breath. Try and keep at it a little longer. He should have seen this coming when he first called her. Her shyness was practically pathological. But if he cut her loose now, all this frustration would be for nothing. But I can't do it, Chiaki whined again. Please, just forget you ever called me. She hung up before Minorikawa could get another word in. He tried calling her back, but she didn't pick up. Damn it, Chiaki. Don't you dare bail on me. Leaving money for his coffee on the table, Minorikawa jumped up and bolted from the cafe. The plaza outside Shibuya Station was as crowded as ever. Minorikawa looked around, but there was no sign of Chiaki. She bailed. Minorikawa dropped to his knees in despair. His last hope had up and left. So I think that what might happen is that we might actually end up with another character, and we might have to have them stop for an interview. And they're going to be in a hurry, so they're not going to want to, but we're going to have to make that happen. There was no one else he could even ask. Damn it. Alright then, fine. I'll do it myself. He dragged himself back to his feet. Alright, listen up, he shouted at the passing crowd. I'm doing street interviews here, starting now. You guys, shut up and help me. I mean, don't shut up, but help me. He wound up blowing way too much time just to get 2 pages worth of content, leaving himself unable to finish the other articles. Yeah. In the end, the issue of 4-Star General Gossip never made it to the newsstands, and Heaven Publishing went down for the count. Well, I don't know how we're gonna solve that right now. Chiaki calls it quits. But I think that we can at least check out some of the what some of our other characters are doing. Like Kano, for example. It's been a while since we've been with him, so let's actually check out what Kano's doing. Kano had been watching Syndicate members hand off the attaché case for an hour and a half. He still had no idea where this relay might be headed. The man he was tailing now was about 10 meters away, close enough that Kano could close the distance and apprehend him at a moment's notice. But his orders remained the same: follow and observe. He watched as the case was handed off once more. It's always foreign people for some reason. By now, the shock of seeing it pass to yet another accomplice had worn off. It's already been 90 minutes, huh? It was Sasayama. At some point, he'd crept up on Kano from behind. They don't seem like they're trying to get away at all, Kano said. They're just walking. What could they be up to? Sasayama shrugged. Yeah, it's weird. Kano recalled Dictum number 89. The more irrelevant something seems, the more relevant it's bound to be. Except when it's not at all. If Tateno's wisdom held true, the Syndicate must have some reason for what it was doing. Or they're just trying to throw the investigators off their scent. No, that couldn't be it. They were wandering in circles, staying right in the same area. They were just running up the clock. What if that's exactly what they were after? Buying time. Yeah, that's what it seems like to me. It seems like their entire purpose here is to keep the police busy with something. Or while they're doing something else. I don't know exactly what it is they're doing, but they're trying to keep the police busy with something. Kano felt a sudden conviction that he was on the right track. If they needed more time to make sure they got their hands on the ransom payment... Wait, hold on. Could it be that the real case had already been switched out? The ransom money wasn't even in the case anymore. I think that would be I think this is more likely. I mean, both of those would be true, right? But I don't know which one to really pick here. I think they kind of mean the same thing. But I guess the real case had already been switched out? But no, he's been watching the entire time, so Maybe the ransom money wasn't even in the case anymore, somehow. Could it be that the ransom money wasn't even in the case anymore? I've got it. Sasayama perked up. You got what? Each time these crooks hand off the case, they sneak out a bundle of 1,000,000 yen. They keep on doing that, and eventually the case itself is empty. Of course. That's how they've been playing us. Kano and Sasayama exchanged a look. How many people would need to make the switch for them to get all the money? Sasayama asked. 50 million yen divided by 1 million. That makes 5 people. That's it then. No, wait. 50 people. That many? That can't be the deal then, Sasayama said. I guess not. They both sighed in unison. The man with the attaché case made his way back to Shibuya Station. The heck? Sasayama grumbled. He's right back where we started. Kano felt his frustration growing. It honestly looked like the syndicate was just randomly lugging the case around town. Near Shibuya Station, a girl approached the suspect. She was Japanese and entirely unlike any of the other criminal accomplices. Oh, it's Chieki. She's begging for an interview. She spoke to the man while showing him something on a notepad. He glanced at the pad, but did not slow down. Within moments, he had left her behind. It looked like she'd just passed him a message. Well, that's sure fishy, Sasayama muttered. What, the girl? Asked Kano. Yeah. Wanna go hit her up? Sasayama could only mean one thing, questioning her. Well, we know that she's not involved in this, but, maybe if we go talk to her, she'll count that as an interview somehow, and that'll help with Minorikawa's story. Although it will mean that, I don't know. I think before we do this, I kind of want to go check what happens if we try this. Because this answer was clearly wrong, so what happens if we select the other one? Could it be that the real case had already been switched out? It made a certain amount of sense. By handing the case off to one accomplice after another, they were leading the detectives to pay more attention to the individuals than the case itself. That could enable them to swap the case while all the focus was elsewhere. Kano shared his hunch with Sasayama. I see. I mean, it is a possibility. Yeah, we might be following the wrong case. There was palpable tension in the air now. Kano, Sasayama said, you gotta report in to Kuze. On it. Kano's hand flashed to his wireless, but Kuze was dismissive. No, that's the case, I assure you. No offense, sir, but how can you be sure? Kuze sighed. Because that's my job. There's an ID tag in that case that allows us to keep tabs on it. There's no way these crooks could have whipped up a duplicate. ID tag? What ID tag? Wait, no, that's right. Kano had forgotten all about that detail in the wake of his all-nighter. Oh, right. Don't you oh-right me. Clearly you weren't hired for your brains. Focus on what you're good at. Kuze ended the call. Still, Kano couldn't shake his conviction that something was off. I think we're gonna keep this one right now. Yeah, we're gonna keep it like this for now, but I don't know, we might want him thinking along the lines that things were, or that the money is not in the case anymore. So we might switch it back to that, but I don't know. So, let's talk to her this time. Let's see. Yeah, let's go see what she knows. Sasayama and Kano hurried over to the girl. "Excuse me, miss, we'd like to ask you if you... Are you happy with your life?" the young woman shouted. She thrust her notepad in Kano's face. Oh my god, she's the worst at this. "Tell me this, are you happy with your life right now?" "Huh?" Looking at the notepad, Kano saw the same question written there in big bold letters. The girl's eyes widened in surprise, as if she hadn't expected the two men to actually stop and listen. But, that is not how you... "Right now, sir," she continued more quietly, are you happy? If so, could you please take this survey about, about your life? Are you happy with it? Could you... I guess she did actually say that, so... Yeah, she's doing fine, I guess. But I was gonna say, you normally start with that. The more she spoke, the more flustered she became. Sasayama stepped in. "Hey, I need to know, did you speak with that Western fellow just now?" "Huh? No, that isn't what I'm asking. Sir, are you happy with your life right now? Are you happy with your life right now?" Kano got a sinking feeling in his stomach. This kid was looking for religious converts or something. "You did speak with him, didn't you?" Sasayama snapped. "What did you tell him?" The girl's ramblings abruptly ceased. Her already ruddy face went even redder, and tears welled up in her eyes. Poor kid, Kano thought. She's just out there trying to get people to listen to her survey questions. There's no way she's part of this kidnapping plot. "Look, miss, for the time being, it would be a good idea for you to leave the area. Afraid I'm not at liberty to explain." The girl's only response was to start sobbing outright. I can't do this anymore. I want to go home." Kano and Sasayama exchanged awkward glances. "I want to go home. I want to go home." Passers-by began shooting curious looks at the trio. "Kano, you get back to work," Sasayama said. "I'll escort this girl to the train station." He didn't quite manage to stifle the embarrassment in his voice. "Right," Kano said. He hurried away, his eyes already searching for the suspect they'd been tailing. "I think that's fine. We'll leave it like that. Maybe Sasayama will actually give her an interview. But for now, we're gonna end it there. So until next time, take care, and I will see you then."